our next storyteller, bringing us home tonight, our final storyteller of the night. You'll recognize him soon with his very special headgear. Kevin Gallagher, if he had no penalties to his health, he would be eating Chex Mix with Planters peanuts all the time. And I have to say, I'm with you. The homemade kind, right? Not the box, right? The homemade kind. With all that soy sauce and the sticky parts at the bottom and the little crumbs. Oh, so good. Kevin Gallagher, please come on up.
I don't know why Sue thought I had a gay outfit on. Is this how everyone dresses during the holidays? I'm a little without a voice, but I'll do my best. So one of the things I love so much about being a psychotherapist is that I spend my days in other people's families, which means I get to experience that every other family is as normal and as screwed up as my family is. Now, by a show of hands, I'd like to know how many people here remember Cousin Marilyn from the Munsters. Okay, there's some people here. So for those of you who don't remember that particular television show, the Munsters were an unusual family, maybe something like the Kardashians. And Cousin Marilyn was someone who didn't fit in much with the regular world, maybe someone like Michelle Obama. And so Michelle goes to live with the Kardashians as a way to learn what it means to be a normal person in society. So this was a show during the 70s. In my family, my Aunt Laverne was Cousin Marilyn. Now, Aunt Laverne was my father's aunt, not my aunt. And she lived alone. She had no kids. She had been married to my uncle, who was a contractor. He built her a mansion and then left her with his 20-year-old secretary, which that is a lot like my family, because my father was married 9 times, and that was that side of the family. So, but the thing that made Aunt Laverne so different from my family is that Aunt Laverne was really rich, and we were not. So we were of limited means, free lunch, tuition assistance, lots of other supports. And Laverne had a heated indoor swimming pool off her living room. In her den, family room, she had a 30-foot bar, probably about the size of this one up here, and a full-size church organ, and a huge fieldstone fireplace. And off the room, there was a billiard room with 2 pool tables. And on the other side of the room was a room with pinball machines. So for you younger people, pinball machines are what people did before video games. So you can imagine how excited we were to actually get to go to Aunt Laverne's for Christmas Eve. Oh, I should also mention that Aunt Laverne was a magician in the kitchen. Like anything you wanted, she would make. And she would make it somehow while she was swimming and stoking the fire and playing the organ. Like she just was sort of ever present. In fact, on Christmas Eve, when we would all arrive, the extended family would start arriving all day long, she would ask everyone when they walked through the door, what do you want for dessert? And I was usually like a coconut cake. My father was mincemeat pie. My sister was brownie a la mode, and so on and so on. Well, the year I turned 10, that Christmas, let me look around. I came into adult knowledge about Christmas. Yeah. So I was kind of sad and gloomy that particular year. And there was a lot of emphasis put on making sure that I had a good Christmas because I was sad and gloomy with adult knowledge. And so, excuse me. And so when it came time for dinner, Aunt Laverne, she couldn't play the organ because she didn't read music, but she was, of course, she played by ear. So you would just hum a few bars or sing a few lines, and she would play it with both hands brilliantly. because that was Aunt Laverne. And so we would have a little music before dinner, and we had this lovely dinner, and then there's the pause between dinner and dessert. And during that pause, my father came up with this great idea that let's go tobogganing. Well, the children were very excited about this. And so we all pile out into the driveway, station wagons, eager children, mildly intoxicated adults. And we all get in the cars and we head off to the Protestant church because they have the largest hill in town. That is the only time the Catholics go to the Protestant church, is to go sledding. I was on my father's sled with his cousin Kathleen, her brother David, my cousin Diane. And I have to say that Dad and Kathleen and David and Diane were of a Kris Kringle nature. And so as a 10-year-old, I was warmly sandwiched into the soft bodies of my relatives. And down the mountain, down the hill we went. Catholic pioneers on the eve of Christ's birth. Well, scotch and ice and darkness are not really great combinations for tobogganing, because we did not notice in the middle of the hill was a giant ice ramp that had been built, I'm sure by young Pentecostal terrorists, quite sure of it. And we were airborne for 15, 20 minutes. And when we came down, we were all still on the sled, but we did not have the same amount of glee that we had had previously. My father had fractured his femur. Kathleen had broken her collarbone. David had broken his nose and split his lip. And Diane had dislocated her shoulder. And yours truly was protected in the soft, warm belly of my relatives. So 3 ambulances later, we basically moved Aunt Laverne's Christmas Eve dinner to the emergency room, which I have to say, I think the emergency room people were really pleased with that, because it's got to be a horrible shift to work. And, you know, we're Irish, so we're fun. So I think we really spruced up the whole evening. And we left the emergency room about midnight with cast and crutches and bandages to head back to Aunt Laverne's. And I remember as we walked back into Laverne's, the fire was roaring. People were kicking off their boots and shedding their coats. The healthy were helping the injured. Laverne was playing the organ. Silent night, holy night. There was nothing calm about today. My family is not very bright. And I looked into the dining room, and on the dining room table were all the requested desserts of the evening, including a 4-layer chocolate coconut cake for me. And I thought, oh, see, Santa disciplined the adults who gave me misinformation about him. And that cake never tasted so good. Thanks.